All right, go. Okay, the P200 has a fantastic Sony image module. It gives you 30 times zoom, great for any size room. It's great in low light and has awesome color rendition. On top of that, we have our BirdDog NDI processing engine, which gives you the highest quality pictures at the lowest latency. It's compatible with any NDI device on the planet and just gives you the best outputs. We have our brand new user interface with NDI version 5, which gives you waveforms and vector scopes to make sure you're properly exposed. It also gives you unlimited control as far as color control and using your camera. In addition to this, it sounds strange, but we can do pan, tilt and zoom at the same time. Try some other cameras, they can't all do it. The P200 is a fantastic camera that's got every type of connection you can want, from NDI with power over Ethernet, SDI, HDMI, any control interface. It's got a great big tally on the top. It's a really great camera. How to do with the time? And the cool thing is, for a limited time, if you buy 3 P200s, you get a free PTZ controller.
What's going on, everybody? I am BirdDog John. Thanks for joining us today, and we are going to kick things off here. It is 1 a.m. in Melbourne right now, and that is exactly where I am. Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Robbie to the show. What's going on, man? All right, let's see. Hey, what's going on, Judson?
Hey, thanks for having me.
I do much more. We are joined with BirdDog Ian, who is at the Capture Summit over in Atlanta. So how's it going, man?
Hot and sweaty.
That's the most important question that our team can ask. Why are you needing this camera?
Now, I haven't tested this thing since it got here. This is something that I'm really excited that NDI did. That's cool. Obviously, there are lots of flavors here, but this is the 4250 line. And our little friend here. Say hello to my little friend. It's brewing in the back of my throat. Based on the recommendation of Senseless, we're going to give a Java Monster a try.
Oh, yeah, Pocky,
We
dude.
got a little Pocky, and
Yes.
I have been putting this off for an age.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
There is a Snacks on Stream mystery box brought to you by my Snacks on Stream manager, Brayton. What's going on, Bugsy?
There you go. What's going on? Balu, good to see you, man.
What's going on, NetHab? Hey, what's going on, Judson? And hey, Kevin, good to see you, man. What's going on, Jeremy? How are you? Thanks for jumping on. Oh, it's all good. Well, this is kind of weird. I wonder if we're having some internet issues. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I am BirdDog John. Hopefully you're doing well. I'm going to take a peek at the show over on YouTube. Let's take a look and see what's going on over there. I don't know what it's doing on the other side. Let me look at the video. Okay, it did not skip, so that's good. All right. Something going on with my interface. That it was like slowing, it would like pause the video and then it would like speed it up and then it would pause it again and speed it up. So it doesn't look like that's how it was received on YouTube, which is good news, which is odd too, because StreamYard is a web-based service, which is what I'm using here. And so, yeah, that's all good. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for joining us today. I am BirdDog John, and we are back for another hour of exciting, I don't know what. How do what do I say about that? Good times. What's going on? Hey, thanks for checking in from Rodrigo. Thanks for checking in from Mexico. I appreciate that. Good to see you. Good morning, Facebook user. I'm gonna have to dig a little bit and find out who you are. But that's great. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for oh wait, that's Facebook. Okay, so let's go here and see what is being said over on Facebook. Hopefully you guys are doing well. It's been a busy start to a new week. I was actually out sick yesterday because I had caught something over the weekend. Still did a whole bunch of still did the stuff I have to do on weekends, but did it under the weather, so that's unfortunate. What's going on, Brayton? Thanks for jumping on here this morning. Appreciate that. And hello from Indonesia. That's cool. Hey, how's it going, Johan? Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, before I go on too much further, a lot of new faces, and so that's really exciting. Feel free to jump over to birddogjohn.tv. That is the place that whatever we do out of this support studio for BirdDog, that's where I post it. So birddogjohn.tv, hit that subscribe button anytime we do something on there and we upload a video. You will get notified according to your YouTube notifications. So you can customize those, and that way you'll hear from us. So good stuff. Glad to have you all along for the ride. We're having like I said, a busy beginning to the week. I ended up just working from home yesterday, and that was great. Had lots to do, but it's always good to be able to have that flexibility. So I was working out of the original support office, which was one that was in my house up on the upstairs, and back on my big giant computer that I have up there that generates all sorts of heat. And so I had to turn the air conditioning back on. It's like 70 degrees in Michigan these days, maybe 75. And yeah, I had to turn the AC back on because that computer, dual GPUs, pretty good CPU, just generates a lot of heat. And there's a bunch of fans in there, so it moves a lot of air. And I put it in a server chassis because I'm a nerd. And so I wanted that configuration. Well, it allows for airflow. There's like a dozen fans in there, and it just pushes the hot air out, and yeah, it heats up that office. So had to turn the AC on yesterday. Hey, Facebook user, any insight on SDI out from NDI and NDI-HX? What now? Any insight on SDI out from NDI and NDI-HX? You're going to have to expand on that for me, there, mystery Facebook user. Oh, and good. I'm glad to hear it. Thanks again for coming along. Give me a little more context to the question. What do you mean SDI out from NDI and NDI-HX? I don't. Are you looking for a converter? Are you looking for something in specific? Jog my memory if we've had this conversation before and help me out with that. What's going on, Pandorica? Glad you're feeling better. I appreciate that. I am feeling better. Shortly after our conversation on Sunday, I was not feeling good at that point, and slept in the guest room, so much so because I didn't want my wife to get sick. So that was funny story about that is I was feeling ill on Sunday afternoon and evening, so I was like, honey, I'm just going to sleep in the basement in the guest room and save you from catching whatever this is. So she was like, okay. So I went downstairs and I realized I had taken my old TV apart and had laid it like all out on the bed. So I got down there. I was feeling like really under the weather, and I was like, and I was like, all right. So I like took the TV and I was like putting it on the ground and whatever. And then I went and took the bed sheets and I pulled the comforter off the bed. No bed sheets at all. And I was like, sucks. So again, still feeling under the weather. So I just pulled the comforter up on the bed and just found some blankets and just crawled under the blankets. I was like, I just want to sleep. I don't even care about having proper bed sheets or anything. I just want to rest. So anyways, Sunday night, it was great. I ended up sleeping really well. Woke up on Monday, felt a lot better than I did on Sunday, and then progressively got better during the day. So I'm back in action today. No fever as of Sunday night. So 24 hours, we're good. I'm looking for a converter to produce a SDI stream for TV ingest. We have some full NDI and HX devices and OBS and vMix, depending on the location. Okay, so you're looking for a converter to produce a SDI stream for TV. So your signal starts as SDI. Is that what I'm hearing? Signal starting as SDI, and you want to convert it to NDI to get it on screens, either decoding it on a flex out or something like that. Well, all of the 4K SDI, that's what that unit does. So it would be the encoder. So you would send SDI in to encode, and that would convert it to full NDI. And now you've got NDI on your network for that signal, and you just need a decoder in that case. Needs something for maximum comparability. Signal as NDI to get it out to a van. Out to a question about that last comment. So if your signal, you want to get this. So if you have an SDI and you want to get it to NDI, the 4K SDI is the thing that does that thing. Okay. You could also find somebody that's selling a BirdDog Studio. We don't make them anymore, but they are out there in the wild. Now, you'll be really lucky to find somebody that wants to sell this, okay? Because this was the original, but the Studio was that function as well. That's for an HD source only, not 4K compatible, but that would take, that would take that. To an OB van. I have NDI. I'm going to SDI. Well, the 4K SDI unit would also be that, except that in its current firmware state, it's just for full NDI. So if you have HX signals, they're not going to work on a BirdDog product like that. Now, with the announcement of Silicon 2, the promise is to work with HX2 and HX3. But Silicon 2 does not have a launch date. And so be really careful when you're mapping out what your installation is going to look like if you're planning on a feature that's not yet implemented. So Silicon 2 will be coming for those devices. Excuse me. Will be coming for those devices, but I need to log into Facebook here. Sorry about that, folks. Hang on one second. But you need to get out of here. Changed 4 months ago. Oh, I can see the user group. Okay. So, hey, James, how's it going? So, depending on what it is that you are doing with the yoink. Sorry, let me jump back here now. Okay, so the 4K SDI unit in its current firmware state will take full NDI signals and convert them, decode them to SDI if that's what you want. It would also take an SDI signal and encode it to, you can set it to one mode or the other. I hear you on the timing. Project is for a major service for this weekend. Well, 100% guarantee that Silicon 2 will not be out by Friday. 100% can guarantee that to you. It will not be out on Friday. So the trick would be then to, if you had HX signals that you needed to display on a BirdDog decoder to get them to SDI to go to screens, then what you probably need to do there is have a software that generates full NDI. So you could convert those signals to full NDI. Now, it'd be a little cumbersome because there's another element in the road. But if you want to use BirdDog products, and use them this weekend, this is how you'd probably have to do it, is you could use a program like vMix or something that does multiple outputs, because if you have more than one, obviously you're going to need that. But that would output, I think Wirecast would do it as well, but you could output multiple NDI outputs from that machine and then just input the HX sources into each of those outputs and then turn them around like a router. And, then that would probably do it. Now that I think of it, I wonder if the NDI router would do this. So I don't have HX sources in my office. Like, that's just not something that we normally deal with, just because of the nature of BirdDog products. But OBS is full, as I recall. Now, OBS is open source, and so it struggles with a few things, including performance. But yeah, that might be a free option. Can you convert HX to full in Bridge, right? Potentially. But I also know that the router, so I'm using the NDI router, right? So from NDI. And let me just pop this up here so that you guys can see. So I'm using NDI router as the way that I switch my video for my main camera. And you can set these sources to be whatever, and then the destinations then become sources themselves. So let me try and clarify, because that was a little bit confusing. If I toss this up here, right? And here's the router. So on my desktop, you can see it says source destination or router destination 1. And that's what this is right here, router destination 1. Now, this is a full NDI source. And when I switch them, oh, hey, we're doing snacks on stream today. When I switch them, this is just routing that. So this is actually a free option that you could use and at least test. Set your HX. What you do is you set your sources in like this. You right click on the source, you say configure, and then you pick your source from your list. And then you say this source goes to this destination. And then here in Studio Monitor, this is the actual destination. We click on my desktop, we say router destination 1. Now, if we go destination 2 is let's change it to source number 2. What's going on here? Okay, so source 2 goes to destination 2. So now if we say destination 2, so this is like another source on my network, boom. And the beautiful thing about router is that you can click this little cogwheel right here and then say add sources. Boom, boom, boom. Where is it here? Check that out. So now I've done this a few times and deleted things. So that's why the numbers are messed up. But you can just change that after the fact. But no, I want to get rid of that. So then you can add as many as you need. This is actually the way I think that you should try this first. This would be the most efficient way. NDI.TV/tools. Get the router and try this out because you can also add additional destinations. So if I have 12 sources here, I can add 12 destinations with the little plus button. That's probably the fastest way to do it. And then just leave this computer running on that network. That might be the best way to handle that out. I don't know. I'll throw that out to the crowd. Is that the best way to do this? Is this, do you think that that's a viable way to convert these HX signals to full NDI signals so that a BirdDog unit could read it? I think so. I think that might be the way to do it. It will retain the aspect ratio, but I think it will convert them to full NDI. I don't have HX here in the office. I don't wish I do because then that opens up a whole other ball of wax. But this may be the way to do it. So yeah, that might be the way to do it. I don't know. There's an idea. Hey, a whole lot of new people are watching this show, and that is super exciting. Probably because we're streaming to a whole bunch of new platforms. At BirdDog Marketing gave me the green light to put this up on the BirdDog page, on the user group. You are very welcome, mystery Facebook user. It doesn't bring your name across. It's all good. I think it's James, if I'm not mistaken. You are very welcome anytime. I would love to give you solutions, and if it works, please come back and tell me because I'd love to know if that actually worked for you. But thank you for giving me a challenging curveball there. I really appreciate that. And yeah, the Facebook crew is showing some love over there. I really appreciate that too. So thanks for the interactions, guys. Those show up and makes me feel warm and fuzzy. I appreciate that. Hey, like I said, we are planning on doing Snacks on Stream today. And today we have, of course, a random mystery box brought to you by my Snacks on Stream manager, BirdDog Brayton. And so feel free to show Brayton some love. And also, I went to Meijer and bought Coca-Cola with coffee, vanilla. So it was between this one and the caramel one, and my vote was for caramel, but I got outvoted by the guys in my office, and I adhere to the system. And so they told me that the vanilla one was the one to try, and several positive reviews in this office over that. So today we're going to give that a go. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, this show has been going on for almost 3 years, and some days there's just not a whole lot to talk about. And so the show has evolved into multiple things. First and foremost, it's a place for you to come and ask your questions. Come and be a part of our NDI chat and our community. Drop a line in there. Let me know that you're here. I'd love to meet you and bring you into the inner circle of BirdDog support. But also, this is an opportunity for you just to have an open window to ask support questions, ask questions about BirdDog. I got sales guys that hang out in the background and they can jump in if I can't answer a question that's more salesy related. You're also not going to want to miss this Thursday and next Tuesday and Thursday's show, because I've already got it lined up. On Thursday, we are going to have none other than Tom Sinclair join us on this show. And if you know that name, you should be equally as excited because he's way more famous than I am in this world. But Tom is such a great guy. I did a video podcast with him at NAB in April, and I had him on the show. The video is up on our YouTube page, so jump over to BirdDog's YouTube page, the one with the green symbol, and look for our podcast interviews. And it's actually me doing the interview. This is pre me getting COVID. And we do one with Tom Sinclair, who is from Eastern Shore Broadcasting. And he is just such a great stand-up guy. He has been doing this sort of stuff for like 10 years. So he's way ahead of me. He's a hands-on type of guy. He shoots it straight. If he unboxes something and it doesn't work, he flat out just says, that's not working. And he doesn't try and sugarcoat it. He doesn't do a whole lot of like figuring out the product before the show, which is actually a format that I've adopted because I think it's way more tangible for our customers to see how the unboxing situation goes and how it integrates and all that sort of good stuff. So it's really great. I'm excited to have Tom on the show. Set your watches, synchronize your watches to Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and we would love to have you join us for a time with Tom. Feel free to bring all your questions for him too. But he's a great guy, and we're going to have a chat with him for, I don't know, at least 30 minutes, maybe an hour. We'll see how long he can stay. So Thursday, our show, we're going to have Tom on. And then the next week, I'm going to have Jake, all things, if all things go as planned, BirdDog Jake, who's another employee. He's one of our sales engineers in our company here in the U.S. He is going to join me, and we're going to talk about cloud on Tuesday, and we're going to talk about Central Pro, the new Central program 2.0. We're going to talk about Central and show all of its bells and whistles. Now, he's traveling, and so he's kind of out of the office right now. But when he gets back to his home office, he's going to have a whole bunch of, he's got it all set up in his office to demo and show. And so I'm going to bring him onto the show and then turn it over to him. And he's going to walk us through BirdDog Cloud. He's going to answer BirdDog Cloud questions. So bring your questions about BirdDog Cloud on next Tuesday. And then Central, we're going to cover next Thursday. A week from Thursday, we're going to talk about that. So Tom Sinclair this week, Jake on Tuesday with Central, with BirdDog Cloud. And then next Thursday, the following Thursday, we're going to have Jake back again. And we're going to talk about Central Pro. So pretty exciting stuff. And I couldn't agree more. Jake is pretty awesome. Hey, John, did you ever test the HX real latency maybe on a BirdDog product? Did it really get 80 milliseconds or more like 130? So first of all, our products don't do HX. So we have not tested that. I have not tested NDI HX3 at all. And partially because our products don't support it yet. BirdDog products don't do HX3 or HX2 or HX. That is coming with the Silicon 2 update, which is not coming on Friday, as I said earlier in the show. But when that standard gets integrated with the BirdDog products, you better believe that we are going to be testing latency because people are going to want to know what the difference is between HX3 in particular and full NDI. HX3 and full NDI will be then the closest, or currently are, I guess, the closest in comparison when it comes to latency in this conversation that Johan is talking about. Because HX2 was the closest, okay? So HX, then HX2, then HX3. Finally, a company that actually works in succession and those numbers actually improve as time goes along. So bravo NDI.TV for that standard. But the HX3 standard was introduced, but if you look at the white paper that NDI produced, the first thing that I said about this was it's pretty obvious that what they did was they increased the bandwidth and decreased the latency. That's how it works. I mean, that if you allow for more data traffic, you can get the latency down. And so that's exactly what it looked like, at least for me. And jump in the comments and tell me if I'm totally off here. But when I looked at the white page, it was like, well, yeah, the latency is lower because they're allowing for more bandwidth to be used, which means that the processing can take up more processing power and get it across the wire, but the bandwidth increases. So I don't actually know if the true and there's a bunch of things that happen here when we talk about NDI encoding, like BirdDog, for example. We encode at 1 frame. That's the standard for full NDI. So 1 frame encode and then 1 frame decode. So in theory, between BirdDog devices, with no other things considered, we add 2 frames from encode to decode, tops. All right, or 1 frame per device. Now, how you get that data across is then different, because your software might be adding latency, or your network switch might be adding latency, or your QoS, which you're not supposed to have, is adding latency, or your projector that you're decoding on is adding latency, or your TV monitor is adding latency. And so it gets kind of difficult to like talk about real world numbers in a very real sense, because the other things that you're using to manipulate and to show those signals are also going to add latency. So high-end projectors will actually tell you what their latency figures are, and so you can know that before you install them. Some computer monitors do, a lot of them don't. A lot of high-end gaming monitors will, because that sort of stuff matters when you're in the high-end gaming world, especially at the competition level, which we have been exploring because esports is getting into NDI, and so that's really cool. And more so for the spectator aspect of esports and not for the actual gameplay. But as things continue to improve, you never know. They may get down to that. We've also had NDI integrated in like concert halls and for the music industry, live music industry in particular. But there's a definite separation right now between NDI and the music industry in particular. We've noticed again for broadcasting and capturing what happens in for an orchestra, for example, or a music concert, that is definitely an NDI realm. We can cover that, no problem. But when it comes to like conductors using the cameras to watch their orchestra, their like vast orchestras, which they can't see, and like they're conducting in real time, that is not there yet. And I would love to say, hand on heart, that BirdDog NDI is the solution there. However, there is introduced latency, and in all NDI, there's introduced latency. That's just a fact of what it is that we do. Now, BirdDog is, 2 frames from encode decode. So if that's not tight enough, then that's kind of a standard that's subjective to the installer and to the user. But, compared to real-time BNC or SDI, because we have a process that's happening between the SDI out and the NDI chip, there's an encode process that's happening there. And then vice versa on the other side, the decode and going into the screen or the projector or whatever you're using, there are processes involved, and they do take legitimate time. And so if you're in an industry that's like somebody's conducting an orchestra in real time, you probably don't want to introduce any latency there as possible. And so your only option is to go SDI out, which is extremely expensive. So then the conversation becomes, well, what's the compromise between expense and what we're willing to tolerate with latency, right? That's really what happens. And so the conversation has to happen between the installer and the expectations of the end user, and so on and so forth. So we have found that there are industries where it's perfect, NDI is perfect, and then there are things where it will be perfect when we can get it down a little bit less, like half a frame. Because if you're doing half a frame on encode and half a frame on decode, now we're only talking about 1 frame, which is, fairly indistinguishable to the untrained broadcast eye. To a orchestra conductor, they're not going to really notice a difference. It will be a reference and it will be good enough. But if you're talking about 2 frames or more, then then we're gonna have a real issue. So, hey, what's going on, Jose? Would be interested to use a core monitor to measure latency when it launches. I would also be interested in the core monitor when it launches. That is one product that the BirdDog support crew has definitely been really interested to get their hands on. I said this earlier in a show, maybe it was it had to be last week or the week before, but BirdDog is doing a lot when it comes to um, creating a BirdDog ecosystem to where like there will be pieces, like I don't foresee BirdDog creating like a video switcher, like a vmix. I don't see us going down that path because vmix, you heard it here first, folks. vmix does a pretty good job. We don't need to reinvent that wheel. If you're looking for a software-based NDI product or a software-based video switcher that needs to ingest NDI, vmix is one of the best in the industry. It really is. Wirecast is also very good. Okay, I've used Wirecast on the show. I quite like Wirecast. It does a lot of things well, and it serves a particular market. Okay, let's leave it at that. If you're really looking for the workhorse, the Cadillac, you're probably not looking any further in the software realm. You're probably looking at a TriCaster, and you say, "Well, John, TriCaster is so ruddy expensive." It's like, yeah, but you're saying you want the best. It's like I want the fastest car in the world. It's not gonna fit my budget. I'll put it that way. We're gonna have to find funding to make that happen because we absolutely want the best. Well, as far as I'm concerned, there really is no parallel to the TriCaster at this point in this world because it has its function and it talks. It is the NDI hub. I mean, it is that thing. Now there are other products out there. Grass Valley does a bunch of things, but again, we're not talking about even TriCaster prices. GV is on a different stratosphere. So, you need the fastest. Yeah, it. Didn't you used to drive one of those? maybe I'm confused. XB, good times. If it wasn't, I can't remember what that cube vehicle was that you drove. What's going on, Balu? Thanks for jumping in on the show. Appreciate that. Thanks for joining us. And for those of you who are new to the show or just running across this because you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube or whatever, the home base for this show is birddogjohn.tv, which was it was the Nissan Cube that you drove. That's right. For those of you who are new to the show or you've just kind of come across it, twice a week, Support runs a show, and me mostly, run a show that talks about anything BirdDog. You're welcome to bring your questions, jump in on the chat, make it all happen. And we will try and answer your questions as best we can. And the deal is, if I don't know, I won't pretend like I do know. I will try and find out for you. But if I don't know an answer to a question, I'll say, I don't know. And we'll go from there. But the home base for this show is at birddogjohn.tv. Feel free to, we just kind of recently in the years, we've been over on the YouTube page for like a year. We used to run the home base on Twitch, which is great. You can join us on Twitch as well. So twitch.tv/birddogjohn if you don't like YouTube. But YouTube is where I'm going to post all of our content that we do for support in the foreseeable future. And so here at birddogjohn.tv, that will route you to that YouTube page. Hit that subscribe button. That'll help us out a lot. We need to get our subscribers up before we can really do anything with that channel. So feel free to jump over there and join us if you haven't done so already. Why would we choose a particular USB stick? Hang on. Why would we choose particular USB sticks to can update firmware on P200? Okay, I'm going to try and rearrange this question. I think what you mean is, are there any particular USB sticks that we should be using to update the P200? Yes, actually, there are. So full disclosure, all USB media is not created equal. And when it comes to the BirdDog cameras, less is more. And what I mean by that is you don't need a big USB stick to do the update. Matter of fact, it's preferred you use a really small one. Matter of fact, it's really preferred that you use like less than a gig. Now you can fake it, right? You can get a big USB drive, go into Windows, and open disk utility, disk partitions, I think it's called. So if you click on the start menu here, let me do you a favor here, and I'll show this on screen so that you can follow along. So let me just minimize these items. All right. So on the start menu, yoink. Let's make that a little bigger. Okay. On the start menu here, you can type in the word disk and it will come up with create and format hard disk partitions. So you can insert your 50 gig 50 gig thumb drive, and it'll open up something that looks like this. And on here, it will give a drive that will pop up. Do I have a USB drive in here? I probably do. Yeah, here we go. One moment, please. All right, so if I insert the USB drive, I get this new volume, drive D, right? So I can click on this, and it gives me this little this volume. So you can highlight whichever one you want, and then it shows you. Now, be really careful here. For the untrained, maybe you're new to Windows or something, this is a dangerous place to be because you can delete your drives, and you don't want to do that. So you want to click on the one, and if you don't know, unplug it and plug it back in. See which one appears, okay? Mine is this one. It's called New Volume. And what I want to do is I want to right-click and say Delete Volume and say Yeesh. And it's going to unallocate the entire drive. You want it to say unallocated, which actually isn't a word in the dictionary. Unallocated is not a word. But anyways, Windows is Windows. Now we're going to, there's the quote of the day. Windows is Windows. Now we're going to right click and say New Simple Volume, and we're going to get this little wizard, okay? And the wizard is going to help walk us through how to do this. Now, by default, it's going to claim the entire drive. It's going to say this is a 16 gig drive, 14.7. It's a 16 gig drive. Here we're going to allocate the entire thing. Instead, we're going to say 256. Next. We're going to name it Drive E. I don't care. We're going to give it this volume name, New Volume. Sure, no problem. We're going to change it to FAT32 and do a quick format. And we're going to click Finish. And what's going to happen is actually going to open up a new window on your screen. It's going to look like this. And it's going to report back, right, chill, that now you have a 256 megabit drive. And you might say, John, why on earth would we only make a USB drive that's 256? That is a great question in this day and age. But here is the reality. When you do the USB update on the baseboard, now I'm assuming you're updating to LTS, because when you go to NDI 5, you won't need to do the USB thing anymore. Praise hallelujah, right? So the answer to the question, though, is why would I, the question is, why would I need 256? Well, when you do a baseboard update, the camera, when it boots, okay, you're going to power cycle with the USB in, the camera actually reads the USB port bit by bit. And there is only an allotted amount of time to be able to do that. So if you have an 8 gig drive, we have found that it tries to read all 8 gigs, and sometimes it doesn't get to the actual hd20.bin file. And so it doesn't do the update. And so people have to power cycle and do it again and again and again just to get it to take. Well, if you set it to 256, it has the ability to read the entire drive during that window. And so you put that hd20.bin file on there. Now that it's, and we can go to downloads. It should look like, let's hang on one second. Let me open this. Let me get you a downloads folder so you know exactly what this should look like. Okay, here are all my downloads. I can't actually read that way up there on the screen, so I'm going to grab a file, downloads, yada, 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 LTS, where are you? Here we go. So this is a PF120 LTS. This is the step yoink, and we're going to drag that hd20.bin file on there. And so your final product is going to look like this. It's going to be 256 megs. All right. And then it's going to be hd20.bin on the root of that folder. And the rest of that space on that drive is going to say unallocated. That's how this works. Don't create a partition. That's not the same thing. It will still read all partitions and may time out. Make sure it says unallocated. So when you plug this thing in, then the camera is going to know that it's only 256. That's the only space that it will be allowed to read, and it'll find that hd20.bin file. So now Brayton has also done you a solid and dropped a link on the Twitch stream to the one drive that we currently know works, and they haven't changed their media as of last checked. We actually order these by the dozen in this office. And so if you're looking for an Amazon link here in the US, that might be an option for you to check that out. So feel free to give that a go and let us know how it goes, because we're always interested. Now, if you so the P200 will take the FAT32 format. We have found, however, that the keyboard and the P100, the old P100 camera, that thing will operate better on FAT, or FAT16 is what it's formally known as. But just in that drive, that wizard that you're formatting the drive, it gives you an option between FAT and FAT32. So select FAT instead of for those two products. We have found this out just by trial and error, man. Like just by doing it over the years. All right. I've been at BirdDog for 3 years. My guys have been here, a couple of them been here over a year in support, and then a couple more guys have started this year. So we have figured it out over time, and these are the discoveries that we found. And that's why you come to the support show, because you find out those little inside tricks just by asking a simple question. So hopefully that sets you down the right path. And I believe that you are a first-time chatter here on the show. So thanks for joining along. Hopefully you found that answer somewhat useful. All right. So onward and upward. Now, what time is it? Whoa. It's 11:41. Did I start late or something? Have I been talking nonstop for 40 minutes? Good golly, man. How on earth is it already 11:40? Maybe no, that's got to be. It is 11:41. Oh my word. Crystal clear. Thanks. Wow. I am flattered that you said that was crystal clear, because that is a compliment. Thank you very much. Sometimes I'm like, man, I'm talking a lot. I hope this isn't super confusing, because I'm sure it could easily be very confusing. Of course, feel free, by the way, if you still need some clarification, I got a group of guys at my help desk that are excellent at what they do, and they can give you a hand at help@birddog.tv. So feel free to reach out to them if your questions continue past this show. So by all means, reach out to them. All right, let's get ready for a little snacks on stream.
John's just making up stuff to start drama.
Look, I don't know.
Look at him.
Wish me luck, folks. It's my first Vegemite experience.
Final, this is like cheese flavor or something. It doesn't really look too appetizing.
Good golly, this is something else, man.
Here's the thing about Pop Rocks, and I don't know if I'm the only one like this. Pop Rocks have always been a social experience for me.
I did not think that is what you were going to say. That's hilarious.
That is awful. Oh, gosh, that's so bad. Jeez. Holy smokes, man.
That's right, folks. Snacks on stream. Time to go again. And don't forget, if you haven't learned anything, just remember that Pop Rocks is a social experience. So one of the greatest quotes of all time. So yeah, we've got a mystery box today brought to you by my friend BirdDog Brayton, who works here in my office. He's he is the repair guy. And so he helps me out because I regularly forget to line up something, and he's always got it taken care of days in advance. So hats off to you, Brayton. Thanks for keeping this going, keeping this alive. Real quick, before we do something like that, I just want to follow up here. So the best way to make web TV that could be seen by many people at the same time with a couple of vMix plus P200s. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking to broadcast, I mean, there's lots of ways to skin that cat. But if you're looking to, so yeah, you've got your internal studio, right? So you're running vMix, P200, and then you could port that out any way you want in vMix. So you can do that with like RTMP. You can send that to a service. You could do an encrypted key. You could send it right to YouTube, Facebook, a bunch of things. Or you could send it to, you could output it to NDI and then use the NDI, router, or I'm sorry, the NDI webcam input tool, which comes with ndi.tv/tools, which is what I do here, to turn that NDI signal then into a USB signal, which then you could port out to web services like Zoom or like StreamYard, or there's a bunch of options there. And so yeah, there are lots of options to get your little production onto the web. vMix will do a lot of it natively for you, but if price is no option, there are lots of things to go down. Yep. So you're just in time, Sherman. Thanks for jumping on. Appreciate that. Good to see you, man. Snacks on stream. So let's bust this open and see what we've got going on. Oh boy. Oh no. This thing is like fruit leather. It says with real fruit. So what else is in here? This is hot and salted tamarind pulp candy. Oh boy. This is a Bubbaloo Plantano. Not sure what that is. I think it's supposed to be gum, so we're gonna try that one last. And then oh man, these are these Japanese cocktail peanuts, if I'm not mistaken. These I know are excellent, and so all excited about that. And of course, the flagship today is Coca-Cola with coffee, which was recommended a few weeks ago. And I ended up just going to the store and finding it because I could order it online for a ridiculous amount. But that one is, but it was found at Meijer, so super easy. And I'm excited to try it. It was voted that vanilla was the one to try. So if I'm going to like it, vanilla is the one that I should definitely try. So all good there. Small yellow one is last. Namaste from India. Hey, how's it going, Go Web? I think I know who this is because you've got tickets in and you're always very kind about it. So good times. All ready for school. Hey, tips for NDI settings for Ubiquiti networks. Interesting. I'm going to do this one first, by the way. So now let's answer NDI questions while eating this questionable snack. Ubiquiti. Well, there are lots of people that are doing it. And there are a couple of guys. This looks absolutely disgusting, by the way. That is not appealing. Look at this. Ew. It's so gross. It's like, oh gosh. It smells like fruit leather, but there's also some hint of like disgustingness with it. So here we go. I'd written to help at BirdDog. Let's see how it goes. Oh gosh. It's the same. It's the same taste as those suckers that we had all those months ago. Oh, and it's like fruit leather with a hint of barnyard. Oh, it's so gross. Oh, man. I don't want to be accused of giving up too soon, so I'm going to eat it. The question about this Ubiquiti network NDI integration is a couple of things. First off, oh man, the Gen 2 Ubiquiti switches are generally not very good. And the reason for this is because the processes are all software based. And we're dealing with a lot of data constantly, like it never ends. And so it appears that the Ubiquiti switches can't keep up like they used to with the Gen 1s. If you have Gen 1 switches, they seem to work just fine. But the Gen 2s, they lost on performance a fair bit. Now, the guy that would disagree with me, and rightfully so, is named Judson, and he's on here every now and then. Judson installs Ubiquiti networks for NDI use and has had lots of success with them. But he has had to hash out over the years exactly what he has to do to get them functional. And so we may need to get him back on here. He was on our show, I don't know, 2 months ago, maybe at this point. And we discussed his Ubiquiti NDI solutions. Those switches are not necessarily ones that I would recommend, primarily because they are prosumer based. So they're not in the AV Pro realm, but they advertise themselves as we're super easy to use. Now, full disclosure, I use Ubiquiti here in the office, but this is not a production environment. This is a troubleshooting environment. And I actually like using underpowered switches in troubleshooting environments because then I know they'll work well on overperforming switches, right? So It's the same reason why we have a TP link switch with the engineers, because we want to be able to show that it isn't working great, but they also want to try and make it work on something like that, because we know that everybody's using all sorts of stuff. Now, it's not to say that all of our products are guaranteed to work on those sorts of switches. Matter of fact, we recommend you never buy anything with link in the name because of their reputation. But one of the issues with Ubiquiti, I find, is that they've changed a bunch of standardized, like network standardized things like QoS. It's not called QoS on Ubiquiti. It's called something else. And you have to be able to turn it off. And on many Ubiquiti networks, with the exception of the edge switches, I don't think you're able to. And so that's a problem. So Ubiquiti tend to perform well with just a few sources, but they don't perform well in larger installs. And so if you're talking about 3 cameras and a keyboard, you'll probably be okay with a couple of Ubiquiti switches. But if you are talking about a fleet of cameras, I would probably steer you away from Ubiquiti and get yourself a beefy, 4250 from Netgear or something like that, because looks like a healthy lunch, John. Not quite. I'm gonna say I tried it. I might finish it, but that's equally as awful as I remember it. Now, these I am familiar with, and I love these, and so I'm happy that these are in the Snacks on Stream box. We're going to yoink, use my knife to cut these open, and oh yeah, these are really good. I already know I'm gonna like these. Now, these are like extra crunchy for some reason, and I'm afraid they're gonna break my teeth, but the risk is worth it. I've written into help at BirdDog, so let's see how it goes. Well, like I said, my guys are excellent, and I think I've seen your tickets come in. So I'm facing an issue with the P120. It works for some time after recent firmware update, and then suddenly it has no feed. I update the firmware again and again, and it does work for some time, and then it loses the signal. I'll stop you right here. We are investigating this because we've had more than one person report this, and I've got a camera here that's doing it. So I'm actively talking to the engineers, literally, like they're awake and I'm asleep and they're awake. This conversation is happening right now. You are not the only one to report this issue, and we're figuring out what is going on. Because I guarantee you, go to your dashboard of that camera, you'll probably still be able to get there, but the MCU version will say none instead of like 4. I think it's supposed to say 4. It'll say none, and that is probably throwing the error that you're seeing. So it is I won't say it's a known, like, confirmed bug or something, but I will say that you're not the first person to report this, and we're gonna figure out what's going on, because yeah, I have one here that's doing it. So I shared a screenshot for further. Yes, Mickey says none. Boom. Yep. If you redo the firmware on initial boot up, it will say MICU version 4. And then when you reboot the camera, it will probably switch back to none. That's what I'm finding, at least. So yeah, it's known. And you better believe that we are scrambling to figure that out. Okay, so these cocktail peanuts from Japan. Fantastic. I knew I was going to like these. De la Rosa. Something, something, something. Cocktail peanuts. They're excellent. High in calories, but they're excellent. And super crunchy. So jumping back to the Ubiquiti conversation real quick, is there any anything specific that's happening that you need, like anything that you're noticing? Are you dropping frames? Are you just looking for general? Because I can, the general network stuff, that's as far as I want to go with it there. But if you have specific things that are happening on your Ubiquiti network, let me know, because I'd be curious to know what it is that you're seeing. There's a small part of me that really wishes Ubiquiti would like step it up and have an AV line and do it right, because there's a market there for it, for their like low cost switches. But they just don't, they're not focused on that. They're focused on like the small business, like VoIP networks. And so when you're putting high levels of data through, or 140 megs for HD, or for 4K, it's 200 or more. When you start doing that sort of volume and you're doing 4 or 5 signals, it really bogs down their Gen 2 switches. And so makes me a little bit nervous. So, okay, it's working fine right now. That's good to know. How to make it work until it's solved? Well, I think right now the only solution is to redo the firmware and then never power it off. But I don't have a solution today for you, unfortunately. I wish I did, because it is definitely an issue. 5 to 8 sources are still working fine. Great. Which switch are you using? Be curious to look at the tech specs. All right, and then yeah, let's. So the leather, I would, if you're not used to this sort of flavor, I would avoid. The cocktail peanuts are excellent, and I'm not going to try this bubblegum until I am drinking this Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola with coffee, vanilla flavored. So there's kind of a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Give it the sniff test. Yeah, it smells like Coca-Cola. It does have that vanilla hint to it, but oh, I'm using a Unify 8, and sometimes it lags. Yes, I have an install with the Unify 8. I've got 2 cameras on it, as well as I don't know about this Coke, guys. I mean, that is you can't go into it expecting to drink that you're going to drink Coca-Cola. Like it's going to be different. So try not to come at it with that. I don't mind Coca-Cola. I prefer Pepsi. Don't hate. But the coffee and the vanilla, I don't know if that works. I guess it's all right. I've got a US 8 150 watt at sources. How many of those do you have? Be curious. Heads up on that gum. It says Montano. It's probably banana flavored. Could be from Mexico. They call it banana. Okay. I appreciate it. It does have a picture of a banana on it. So let's go with that. I'm going to trust you that it's banana flavored gum. We'll give that a chew in here in a minute. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that Coke. All right, so let's go back. Wait a minute. How do I do this here? All right, so let's jump back to some of these comments. So I have a ASW aggregation switch at the vMix side. Ooh, okay. I like this setup. I mean, so here's the thing. I find it all right. I find Ubiquiti okay if you're load balancing across the network, right? But too often, customers will see an 8-port switch and think, I can get 8 devices on there. They start plugging 8 cameras. It's like, whoa. So I strongly advise against just overloading a switch. But if you're load balancing like that, then I can get on board with that. I can see why that's working. 2 US 150. Okay. So also we're using a Netgear 4250 and connected 3 4K flex decoders. 4K, so flex outs, you mean? Flex outs. 1 flex 4K in and 1 P120. It works very well. Yeah, now those 4250s, those are money. They cost money, but those are also great devices. They're NDI focused. If I were to recommend anything, it would probably be that 4250 if you've got the budget. Now, man, that's crunchy. I've got 2 or 3 sources per. Okay, so yeah, I do like this setup where he's got 2 to 3 sources per 8-port 150. The Ubiquities. That I can get on board with. I think you'd be all right. It should be pretty stable. How is the back end? Is it copper or fiber? If you say fiber, I'm really going to be happy with you. Not required though. Don't worry. I'm just happy that you're not overloading your switches. That's beautiful. So yeah, those 4250s, like those things are great. And I run multiples of those across this network and at trade shows and stuff. And it's really good. So bravo. All right, I'm gonna finish up these peanuts. We're gonna have a good conversation, so I'm gonna go for a few more minutes here. Feel free to jump in, cycle out, whatever you need to do. Thank you so much for showing up. If you haven't done so already, open a new tab and go to BirdDogJon, JON.TV. That's the YouTube page. Hit subscribe. And anytime that support puts up a video or does anything, I do some traveling for BirdDog. So I was in Australia. You saw the bumper video at the beginning. I did a show in Melbourne at 1:30 in the morning in Melbourne time, which is 11 o'clock here. And that was a lot of fun. And I tried Vegemite that night and not a fan. Fiber from a long run and Cat 6. I should have you come on over here and do some workshops. You're doing it right, as far as I'm concerned. Well done. Very happy to hear that. The shorter runs can be Cat 6. I mean, if in a perfect world, you'd fiber all that. But if you have to run Cat 6, at least it's Cat 6 and not Cat 5. Is it possible that you could give a short tour of your setup? It is possible. It's actually really basic, to be honest with you. Let's see. How do I do this? I've got 2 cameras online right now. Yeah, okay. So let's manipulate the 200 real quick. And this is home. All right, so let me just, you know what I should have done? I should have just, hang on one second. Let me correct this little mistake I made. All right, so I'm going to steer the 200 around my little studio here. All right, so yeah, we can do a little shop tour. So I've got a couple of lights here on my desk that give me that green glow. Snacks on Streambox, but computer setup, 2 monitors on either side, 1 light that's doing a fill, which is that one's lower. Hair light, that's just a simple little LED panel, and then I have a really bright light that's over here that's providing the majority of. Let me see if I can drive over there. Yeah, so I've got this light that's over here that's got this. It's quite bright. It's the brightest one in the room, and then this long boom pole that holds this RE20. And then this is a P200 that you're looking at, but there is also a P100 that's hanging off the roof. Don't mind the stains on the roof. I don't know what that's from. So we run cabling up there, and that just runs over to a little spot on the wall that runs into one of my switches. And then it's just a black backdrop. And I don't know what else there is to report. That's basically it. I've also got right next to the P200, that is a P400, but she's currently off, not running, but it provides a second shot. Yoink. And and there's also a monitor that's right in front. So if we back off one more time and we go down, so this black box right here, let me see if I can't. Where are we here? So this black box, I see why, is it's just a Blackmagic monitor. It's a 12G SDI monitor. And so we use that for testing mostly in this office, but I run it during the show so I can see where my quadrants are and all that sort of thing. So I love that cable management. Yeah, I know. Jealous, huh? I had a little extra, so I just looped it up there. I was like, meh, I'm not going to show this on the show. No one's going to care. Well, today's the day, I guess. That's unfortunate. M-Tash, what's going on? How are you? Thanks for jumping back onto the show. Hey, morning. It's actually afternoon now. If I have any P200s plugged in for, if I have any P200s plugged in for electricity and plugged into a switch via Ethernet, Do the 200s still draw any PoE power? Now, initially on paper, it would say no. I want to like it. Initially on paper, I would say no, it shouldn't draw any. However, I have seen a P200 draw 2 watts while it's plugged into DC power. And so I can't definitively say yay or nay because I can monitor the power consumption on my switches, and they do show that something was being drawn. So in the latest firmware, I'll need to double check this for you, MTash, but in the latest firmware, it shouldn't. But you never know. And because it doesn't require it if you don't have PoE, right? The camera still boots up, no problem. So I'm not too sure why it would draw anything or need it. And again, on paper, the answer should be no. To give you a definite answer, I can't say one way or the other. Let me think. Nope, that camera's not on the network. Okay, I was trying to think. Hang on. I have a really bum tooth, and so I chewed on the wrong side. All right, so in this office right now, I don't think I have any cameras that are PoE enabled, but plugged in with DC and onto our network that's PoE enabled. So I think everything that is plugged into the PoE network is running PoE power. So I can't like pull it up for you right now, but I will definitely find out. After the show, I'll go to my office and I will find out. And if you come back on Thursday, I will share that discovery with you. No problem. It shouldn't, but it might. P200s are plugged in and getting power from their electrical cords. Yeah, it shouldn't do that. It shouldn't draw any wattage from the PoE switch because it wouldn't if there was a non-PoE switch. But something tells me that I recall seeing this before in the past, and it just didn't. Don't worry about that. And it didn't. It wasn't 0, but maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, and I will be wrong again. But maybe I'm wrong about that. That's fun with PTZ that you can do what you can't do with fixed cameras. Thanks for the studio. Yeah, sorry it wasn't very elaborate. It was kind of like here's this, and this, and this. All right, we're done. I have a TV. It's a Samsung TV that's over on the window ledge as well, where the cameras are, and that's the screen that I share. So when I pull this up, that is that monitor up there, and that's my third monitor. That is how we kind of share content and screen share and all that sort of good stuff. So DC sniffer and a comparator that knows if there's an external power switch off the PoE. I mean, yeah, inside the camera, again, it's supposed to detect that it's DC power and not request any. So again, the answer should be yes. It doesn't draw any power. Doesn't draw any required power. But I want to be sure that I am absolutely 100% correct before I say yay or nay. In theory, no, it should not draw any power when you plug it in over DC. Adam Lopez, what's going on? Thanks for jumping on the show. The PF120 box cam won't populate on Cam Control version 4, but works with an older version 2.0. Version do I have? Let's find out. Version 4.0? I have version 3.0 on this one, and I have a box cam. So on version 3.0, it does populate. Let me see if there is another version that I don't have. Ow. Oh. It was painful. And worth it. Cam Control. Check it out. This computer is not regularly used. It's used for the show and occasionally cloud testing. But so do you mean 3.0.4? Is that what you mean? Because that might be the version that you're referring to, Mr. Adam. Let me know. Should the Flex In, the Mini, etc., do audio only encoding? No. Do they require a valid HDMI input to start the encoding process? Yes, they do. They do not just do audio. I was setting up companion profile on my Stream Deck, and I can't find a P120 in companion profile for BirdDog PTZ cameras. That's because it hasn't been created yet. BirdDog actually doesn't do anything with companion in BitFocus. It's all done third party. And so somebody, I'm sure somebody knows who it is, but somebody is responsible for doing that. Whoops. Not responsible. They volunteer, to be honest with you. So they volunteer to do it, which is super generous of them. But we actually don't write that code or do anything like that. So if it's not up there, you could try a P100 because it's the same command list for the P100. It just doesn't have the PTZ movement. So if the P100's in there, then you can use that. Oh, I used the P100 and somehow got it to work. It's because it's the same base commands. So that's why. Still here, eh? Hey, what's going on, Michael? Yes, I am. I am still here. We started Snacks on Stream late because we've been having lots of conversation. And apparently I've been talking without any concept of time passing by. So Adam Lopez says yes. Okay, so let me grab that cam control version because I have 4.1. And so you're indicating 4.2. So I'll update it and we'll see how that goes. Hey, can you also talk about your software setup? What are you switching with? I'd be happy to talk about that because that's exciting stuff. Okay, so the service that I'm using today is called StreamYard. It's one that gets regularly promoted on YouTube. Anyways, I fell in love with the service while I was watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, but I was watching a YouTube channel of people of like lawyers that were watching the show and talking about the law kind of behind the scenes, and that was really cool. And so they were using StreamYard, and he was having like other lawyers join him of various persuasions, we'll say, and of the law and how it should be adhered, and they were having like genuine conversation. I loved it. I was like, I can invite BirdDog guests on here, or like BirdDog guys. I can invite like guys like Tom St. Clair, which on Thursday, Tom's probably going to be joining us on Thursday. So be sure that you hang out with us. If you don't know who Tom is, you're missing out, man. You need to Google that guy. So Tom St. Clair is going to join us on Thursday, but you can just invite guests pretty easily. Just send them a link and it opens up in their browser and away they go. And it can run on any device, any operating system. It's great. And so I've had guys on here lots so far, and I like the idea of having a conversation together. And if you can get more than 2 or 3 people, it really makes for a fun dynamic on the show. So I'm using StreamYard P200. All right. And it's going not only to my confidence monitor, but it's NDI across the network. And it's coming over. My computer is running NDI router. Okay. This is a new program out of NDI.tv. And NDI router looks something like this. All right. This is kind of a bigger version of it. But anyways, NDI router. And what I'm doing is I'm sending this signal, which is, configure P200, to destination 1. And then I'm taking destination 1 and I'm running the webcam input from NDI, an NDI app called Webcam. And what that does is it takes any NDI signal and turns it into a usable USB input. Okay, it's a pseudo USB input. And so that then I can then plug that into StreamYard or Zoom or whatever, Skype, whatever. I take any NDI source, plug it in that way. But then router also allows me to then switch my source so that I can do that live. So router is a great little switching software. And then, we can see the actual streams here. Look, router destination 1. So here we go. And then when I switch it, you'll see on studio monitor and my video will change. Boom, boom. Really fast, really snappy. So then I take that video and I connect it as a USB to StreamYard. And then I can add additional sources. So like my screen, I can add additional guests and I can put them in. I can, highlight them. There's a few different configurations. If I want to like show you how to do things on here, I can make this full screen. Really super flexible and super easy. We have the paid for version of this StreamYard program, and so I can stream to, I think it's like 8 different platforms. So we go to Facebook in multiple places, LinkedIn, YouTube in a couple of places, and Twitch, and that's seemingly working fairly well. And it brings in all the chats into one place, and then I can talk through it in real time. And as you can see, I can bring up what people say and actually show the comments, and so I can respond to them as well. So good times, great oldies. Isn't the same thing called SRT in vMix? No, SRT is a video for a low bandwidth video format for traveling across open internet traditionally. Hello, this is Igor. Hey Igor, how's it going? Thanks for answering my question during a previous stream. I'm excited to partner with BirdDog on our next project. Awesome. That would be fantastic. I've got 7 BirdDog cameras, 2 robots, and a Brynishnikov. I don't know what that is, but it's pretty exciting, and I love that name. Fantastic. I love the fact that you're using our stuff, and we got a link here. So I'm gonna check that out. I can't click on it in this chat. I've got to go over to Twitch. Hey, if you're new to the show, I keep saying this. If you're new to the show or you've stumbled upon us because we're broadcasting on other platforms, open a tab, go to BirdDogJon, BirdDogJon.tv, and check out that channel. That is where what I do with anything, I will be posting it there. And so if I'm ever on, oh, there's a paywall here, man. If I'm ever on YouTube, or if I'm producing anything, it will for sure get posted there. So subscribe to that channel. We got to build up the subscribers on that channel in order to be able to do some stuff with YouTube, like get our own name so that I can name it like youtube.com/BirdDogJon. That would be great. But that channel is too small. So do me a huge favor, subscribe to that. And then you get notifications when we go live, however you have your YouTube notifications. And we'll be in your feed and all that stuff too. So check that out. That'd be great. I did open this article. Check off 2 ways with the robot and paywall. But fantastic. I love the fact that you're using BirdDog stuff. That's great. And thank you for sending that over. If you have any like YouTube videos or anything like that you've used BirdDog stuff for that you've produced, shoot those over to the help desk or shoot them over to Eamon@bird-dog.tv. He's our marketing guy. He eats that stuff up, and he'll ask you permission to reproduce it and show it on our channels to rebroadcast, your production so that we can show people, look what people are doing with our BirdDog stuff. And he loves that sort of thing. So good times. Go web. Hey, can you talk a bit about cloud in your next stream or a short demo if possible? Actually, we're going to talk about cloud next Tuesday. Next Tuesday at 11 to 12, I'm going to have BirdDog Jake on the show. And he is going to give a Cloud 3.0 demo, and we're going to cover as much as we can. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your parents. We are going to try and answer the questions that you've got and demo the product. I'm going to invite him on the show and then mostly turn it over to him. So he's going to be my guest next Tuesday. We're going to do a full-on cloud demo because of your requests, Go Web. So plan on being here a week from today at 11 to 12 Eastern time, and we will do a show. I'm having an issue with my Flex In, where it will only encode one channel of audio when sending audio in via 3.5 millimeter connections. It works fine with other brands. Have you seen this? Possibly. Where nothing can possibly go wrong. Yeah, hang on one second. Let me see if I can let me see if I can confirm this for you. Let me log into the desk real quick. And Now, the cable that you're using on the Flex input, that is a TRRS jack, right? You're not using a TRS, using a TRRS for that port because it is tip ring sleeve. So let me look about audio. I don't have anything reported about the port on there being having an audio issue. You can confirm in NDI monitor only showing signal in the right channel, I think. Definitely a stereo. But again, if you're using TRS and a TRRS jack, it may be touching the wrong contacts. But I believe all of our encoders are TRRS and then our cameras are TRS because they're they have input output. They have in and out on the audio, but all the converters are TRRS. Check that out and see if that helps. It's possible. So we're building a full NDI setup and using BirdDog. So it's a big learning curve. I believe it. So it's going to be part of our every system with my doubt, issues, and suggestions. Well, feel free to bring those questions and concerns here to the show because, first of all, you might be able to get your answers fast, but also people will learn who are watching in the wings. So always happy to walk alongside you and make your stuff as best as we possibly can. That's a good point. Thank you. Oh, you are very welcome. My pleasure. Thanks for jumping in the chat and bringing your questions. This is what the show is for, folks. Oh, I love it. It's great. Now to try and like this drink. Man, it's such a unique. So I was reading a review for the Coca-Cola with coffee, and it said more caffeine than your average cup of Coca-Cola, but less caffeine than your average cup of coffee. And I was like, that is a weird way to advertise for this. Like coffee, but not all the caffeine. Drink Coca-Cola. No, that's not a health recommendation. Do you like Coca-Cola, but need a little more caffeine? Try Coca-Cola on steroids. No, also not a great idea. So I thought that marketing ploy was bollocks at best. Well, good times. Hey, thanks everybody for hanging out. We got a handful of new folks that are here on the show for the first time, and so that's exciting stuff. I love the fact that folks are coming on. Join me over at birddogjohn.tv. That's the home for this show, and if you subscribe to that channel, you'll be helping me out big time. You could also follow us on Twitch, although we're not doing anything on Twitch anymore. I used to hey, join us on Twitch, help us. And then they banned me for putting a link to our own website. And that just rubbed me the wrong way. So I definitely did away with my allegiance to Twitch. And now we're trying out the YouTube thing. And I'm sure, you hear of guys getting banned on YouTube all the time. But anyways, we'll give it a go until we can't. Yoink and yoink. Just open this up real quick. So yeah, join us over at birddogjohn.tv. That is the home for this show, and if I ever do anything, it will for sure be there. So you'll get notified that we've created something and put it up there. So, hey, what's going on, Sanaya? Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out again with your dad. Appreciate that. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're having a good week. I wish my kids would talk to me on the show. They're 8 and 4, so then they don't know how to log on to the internet yet. Hey, did the audio to NDI suggestion fly in the team? So I sent that out there as here's an idea that might be out that, but I'm sending them into the abyss, and whether that gets picked up or not by HQ. And typically there's the dev team, the guys who are inventing this stuff, they're, obviously they're having stuff come at them all the time. But anyways, we I don't know. I don't know if they've considered it at all, but we could definitely poke the bear and see what they say. It's a great idea. Curious if the spec sheet anywhere says TRS versus TRS. Definitely use the TRS cable. I can 100% confirm to you that it's TRRS because it needs to be microphone left, right, ground is the way that it's wired, I believe. I have it written down somewhere too, but it is TRRS on the Flex. Confirmed. You can take that to the bank. Sanaya is 9 years old and is very much so into technology. Me too. I love technology. It's good stuff. I make a living off of it. Right? Thank you. Oh, you are very welcome. Hey, if you're over on Facebook, feel free to hit the like button or I don't know. It shows up in my feed. It's so cool. It shows that people are liking the show. But yeah, the whole point of the show is for you to bring your NDI questions. It's funny because we have a small support team. All right, we're not a big giant global conglomerate that has a call center and yada yada yada. We're just not that way. But we do want to be available for folks to come and hang out and ask questions and actually be a part of, like, come and talk to us. We love this stuff. And if you've got questions, we'll try and answer them. I won't lie to you. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know. But if you throw it in the chat, we'll do our best. Otherwise, if you're just here to hang out and watch, also throw something in the chat. Let me know you're here. Always anxious to meet new people and yeah, get our message out there. We also do tutorials. We also do interviews. We do walkthroughs. Do not miss this Thursday, because on this Thursday, we're going to have Tom Sinclair join us as long as schedules align and the I's are dotted and T's are crossed and royalties are paid. No, I'm kidding. He's not charging. I hope he's not charging me anything because I have a $0 budget for that. So Tom's going to join us for a little bit. If you don't know who Tom Sinclair is, he's way more famous than I am. And so it'll be great to have him join us for a little while and we can just kind of talk about things. Since NAB, there is on our YouTube page a spot where I interview Tom at NAB in this past April. And that was a really fun interview. And if you want to you can just put it up in the background and listen to us chat. But we talk about the industry. And the funny thing about that interview, and maybe I'll bring this up on Thursday, is Tom didn't know we were videotaping it. So him and I were having this great conversation, whatever, and I wrapped it up. I was like, well, thank you so much for coming along. And he's like, absolutely. I had a great time. And we were finished, and he said, you know what's odd is that you're a camera company, but you didn't videotape it. And I was like, yeah, we did. I was like, those cameras right there, I was sitting here switching the show without. I was like, I'm happy to hear that you weren't interrupted by that, but we definitely video. He was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, sorry, I should have said something earlier that these are the cameras we're using. But anyways, it's good times. I have tried to get support from global conglomerates with a call center that are nowhere near as responsible to the BirdDog team. Yes. Love it. Thank you so much for saying that. You have no idea. Yeah, so stinking awesome. BirdDog guys, that's all for you, boys. That's well done. Appreciate that big time. Man, that makes my day. Can you explain your NDI cloud solutions and advantages? That is a huge question that could take multiple hours to answer. So next Tuesday, all right, next Tuesday, we're going to do a cloud demonstration with BirdDog Jake, who's a buddy of mine that works for BirdDog, and he is going to give us a full demo, well, as full as we can pack it in, of cloud. And I'm going to let him run with the show and do his thing. And so he's got it all set up at home. As long as he gets back to his home office and is healthy, because he's always picking up the flu or COVID from his constant travels, we are definitely going to do a full-on demo. And so join us, synchronize your watches is my phrase, for next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So an hour and a half prior to this time right now, Join us at 11, or you can catch it obviously on YouTube after the fact. But please plan to join us next Tuesday for a full-on demonstration of Cloud 3, which has a ton more options. So many that we need our sales engineers to specialize in this product because there is so much stuff to go over. And so I'm really grateful that Jake is going to join me because he will do a much better job of explaining it than I will. But let's plan on next Tuesday at 11 o'clock for that demonstration. Awesome. I fully agree. I'm really excited to have him on, and I haven't seen or talked to him face to face in quite a while. So it'll be great to see Jake again. Yeah, he's a good dude. Thanks. You're welcome, GoWeb. Tell your daughter I say hi. She sounds like an awesome 9-year-old. So the last question is, since that you've been so helpful. Oh, thank you. I have a Flex out that decodes video, but the video is jittery. Studio Monitor works like a champ. Guidance on how to troubleshoot other than just blame it on the network. You took the words out of my mouth. No, yeah, okay. So a couple of things that can be done here to kind of troubleshoot things. So typically jitter or frame drops are happening at the process level, okay? So on a computer, there are buffers that are happening on the NIC card. And so that's going to make the stream look really smooth. Because the BirdDog is attempting to decode in one frame, there's very little time for any of that. And so we may be looking at packets not getting across the network in time, okay? So the first thing you want to verify is QoS turned off. Jitter is commonly caused by quality of services running on the network that inspect packets in real time, but they cause latency. And so in the NDI pamphlet from NewTek, they clearly state that NDI should run and QoS on NDI networks, QoS should be turned off. This is a little bit tricky if you're using a Ubiquiti network, because Ubiquiti doesn't call it QoS. They call it something else. Anyways, you need to turn it off and figure out how to turn it off if it is on a Ubiquiti switch. I can't remember what it's called. So you need to kill that because we need it full throttle. Second thing is you need to verify that the ports that are being used, including the one on the Flex, by the way, are registering as full-on gig ports, okay? Not 10 100s. 100s, it's smooth and then it stutters and then it's smooth again. Like I can't SSH to the Flex. Yeah, there you go. What do they call it? Ubiquiti for the win sometimes. I upgraded the P100. Okay, hang on. So, yeah, we want to double check and make sure. Also, double check that like the switches are fully up to date. They make updates fairly frequently. So be sure that those switches are fully up to date if it's Ubiquiti. Full gig, no issue there. Okay, cool. Yeah, what do they call it? All right, Ubiquiti users, what do they call QoS? Here, this sounds like a question for the almighty Google. What does Ubiquiti call QoS? You mean Ubiquiti? Yes, I do. Best practices for qualities of service. Oh, they have. Ooh, you know who you should definitely watch the video from Crosstalk Solutions, dude. I love that guy. I've never met him. I just watch his videos, and that dude, I love Crosstalk Solutions. Go to YouTube, type in Unify QoS, and then go to Crosstalk Solutions. He's a guy in his home office, but he is a really sharp dude, and he does everything Ubiquiti. Check that guy out. See if there's anything beneficial in there. Come on. Because he talks about QoS on Ubiquiti, apparently. He would know better than I do. I upgraded the P100 to the new beta NDI 5 firmware. I botched step 2, and I went on with step 3. Uh-oh. I know where this is going. Now I have no image. The MICU says none instead of 3.7. How bricked is this unit? Is there a factory reset procedure? Well, there is, but it's not going to revert baseboard firmware unfortunately. That's not what the factory reset would do. It would return all the settings to factory reset. You can, however, go back and do step 2. I would just redo step 2 and then redo step 3. Step 2, you should really go to LTS first. Okay, so on the P100, go to the latest LTS firmware. So do step 2 of the last LTS firmware for P100, and then do the LTS firmware for the software, and then make sure that everything's working, and then do the firmware for NDI 5, which is just a firmware update at that point. That would be the best way to proceed forward. Maybe in the future episode, a request to do a demo of a Netgear 4250 switch. Best settings for NDI. I don't want to spend that much time to learn it myself. Whoa, this laundry list of things to do is getting... Actually, no, I love it. Yeah, 4250. Let me just make a little note here. 4250. Okay. We'll handle that for you. Actually, that is something that I've wanted to go over. It's someone else's product, so it's a little bit tricky, but I have had a fair bit of experience with it at this point. It'd be great to have like a one that's not doing anything, because the one that I have in here right now is functioning for that camera. But she's beautiful. And there's also a, let me go here to this camera. This camera is the overhead, and people have commented that it's not like super smooth. And I know, but I think it's actually something wrong with the camera itself and not with the not the network issue or anything. That's why it's at the support office, because there's something wrong with it. That's pretty common, actually. That's where most of our demo gear comes from. It's like, well, everything works except the audio port, so this is now a BirdDog support unit. I'm trying to like it. I don't know. It's just not great. Hey, maybe it has to do with the cable management. Touche. Let's it also, that camera is so funny because the whole building shakes, and so it's hanging from the roof, and so when I switch to it occasionally, you'll see like the whole table shake, and I'm like, oh geez, like it's not the most secure place to put it on a grid of a hanging ceiling. Yeah, it's not going to be super secure up there. Anyways, it hasn't fallen on me yet, and it's been up there for over a year, so it's living the dream here in the BirdDog studio. Good times. Man, I'm happy you guys are here. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Really appreciate that. Okay, so the last snack on stream is the bubble gum, and apparently it's banana flavored. That's what we're going to go with. So, oh yes, it is. Wow. All right, finish off with the banana gum. Oh gosh. There was like a Gushers center, like banana juice in the middle. Oh gosh. All right. Well, banana flavor is not bad, but I could have done without the like Boston cream custard banana flavor in the middle. That was weird. Anyway, it does taste like bananas. Fun fact about me: when I was little, they used to make medicine, which was basically like penicillin, in various flavors, and they always gave me banana flavor, and I ended up just being sick to my stomach every time I had to take it. And it probably wasn't like, I wasn't allergic to it, but I just refused because I thought it was the nastiest flavor ever. And nobody taught me that if you just plug your nose, you won't taste it. They didn't tell me that until I was like a teenager. So all those years of suffering with taking bad medicine. Anyway, it's not BirdDog related, says Andrew. What's going on, Andrew? But I use 2 PCs with 3 NIC cards. Oh boy. One for general networking, one for Dante, one for NDI. Is there any way to make NDI sending from a PC not flood the other two NICs? Actually, I think this can be done in Access Manager, can it not? Let's have a little look-see. I think you can set at least a preferred. So if you download the NDI 5 version of Access Manager, let's throw this up here so that everybody can see. Okay, so here, advanced, and then preferred NIC card. Check, and then NDI network. I believe that this should tell your NDI libraries that this is the network for NDI sources. If I'm not mistaken. I thought that's how it worked. It may still, I don't know if it'll still broadcast on those other networks, but it shouldn't. So open access, this is a great test though. Open Access Manager, go to the Advanced tab, click on Preferred NIC card. You have to have the NDI 5 version of tools. Preferred NIC, select your NDI NIC card, hit OK, and then that will tell your NDI libraries on this computer that I'm using. It'll tell those NDI libraries that is where the NDI network is. That's the preferred NDI network. Again, I don't know if it'll isolate, but pretty sure it should. Let's read that fine print real quick. Hang on. Whoops. Fine print says, by default, NDI makes effective use of available network connections for best transmission. Use this option to force NDI traffic to prefer a specific network whenever possible. Boom. There's your answer. I think that's the best that they're going to be able to do for you. Be sure you click OK. It will save it to the library and become active. That's how you make changes in Access Manager, and then when you hit OK, it writes it to the library. So there you go. Hopefully that's helpful. Good question. Lots of good questions today. Man, I was all nervous because I didn't have a guest lined up, and I didn't have anything specific I was going to walk through, and you guys have just been carrying on the conversation. It's 12:42. Like, this show is going on almost 2 hours. This is like the old days where I used to run the show for 3 hours a day. I used to run it 3 hours on Thursdays? But it was a 3-hour show. Yeah, just like old times. I'm still on NDI 4. Well, there you go. Solution is in the upgrade. Just in the tools kit, actually. All right, goodbye, banana gum. You actually were not that bad. It's not too bad. Would have again. Hey, what's going on, Aiden? Have just rolled out NDI 5.5. Who, NDI? NDI did, yeah, for sure. Are you familiar with the Office Hours Global Project? It might be a good source of guests. Office Hours? No, I'm not. Office Hours Global Project. Welcome to Office Hours Global Project. On this week's schedule, what is this? IBC coverage breakdown. What is this? Join our daily Zoom conversation. Wow. After hours event. Ecamm, web construction. No, I don't know anything about this. All right, give me a little context. What is all this? Office Hours Global. Highly recommend. Well, I'm going to check that out. See? Help you, help me. Help you, help me. Office Hours Global ... IBC coverage. What is this? Focusing on NAB coverage. Oh, they do like a to get like a Zoom thing as well. Videos, recent uploads. Who are these guys? Holding people's attention in a swipe away world. Yeah, I should probably watch that. Oh, I see why you've linked me over there. It's a group of production pros who started getting together daily when lockdown started. Vast experience base. Ooh, right on. It's a wide panel of experts of AV streaming, etc., getting together every day and answering QA questions. That's cool. Yeah, maybe I should reach out to them. Maybe I should just join them. Although I wouldn't consider myself an expert in very much. Do you have any Discord channels? We do. We do have a Discord channel. Let's see. Does the Discord thing still work on Twitch? Let's find out. Discord. There it is. Thanks, Nightbot. Yeah, there's. I wish that there was a way that I can show this, but I can't actually click on this link in StreamYard. It's not a live link. It brings it in as a chat window from the channel. It's a little bit strange, but anyways, there it is. That is hosted by a guy named Beep Chirp, who, that he hosts that, and he also does my DNS redirect for BirdDogJohn.tv, and I'm super appreciative of that because that helps people out a lot. But Discord, there you go, the unofficial, unsupported BirdDog Discord channel. It's not affiliated with any company, owns or uses anything that you can think of. Yeah, I need to check those guys out, I guess. It's been now are they hosted over in Europe? Because it looks like oh no, this just finished. Interesting. Yeah, they got a good following too. That's cool, man. Yeah, I should check that out. I'll leave that tab open and take a quick look at what they're up to over there. Okay. Well, it has gone way past what I ever imagined this show would go past, especially for not really having much of an agenda today. So thanks, everybody, for carrying it on. Be sure to jump over to birddogjohn.tv and hit subscribe to that channel. That would help me out immensely. I have a meeting coming up at 1 o'clock, which is in 13 minutes. And then, all the support things that I do. So join me again on Thursday. And on Thursday, I'm hoping that Tom Sinclair from Eastern Shore Broadcasting is going to join me. We're just going to hang out and chat for a bit. So bring your questions. Bring your questions for Tom. He's also got a show on Wednesdays, which is it's a really great show and it's well attended as well. So reach out to those. Check out his channel. Check out birddogjohn.tv. Subscribe to those if you don't mind, and keep us in the loop as to what we're up to. You'll get notifications according to however you have YouTube set up. In the meantime, if you hang on here, let me go back here. Core team is in the US, but they are truly global. Sorry, it's a time sync. Got it. I'm on the Discord channel with a lot of professionals from video, filmmaking, live streams, etc. from across the world. Would be fun if BirdDog would be a part of our little community. No, I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't want to be. You can certainly shoot us whatever the link is. You could send it over to the help desk and just say, hey, I talked about this on the show. And then they could either get it to me and I will add the guys over at HQ and see if they want to join. But yeah, there's options there. No worries. You let us know what you guys got going on. In the meantime, however, I do need to sign off. In the meantime, shoot your questions. If you can't wait until Thursday, shoot your questions over to help@birddog.tv. And my guys are going through tickets right now, trying to sort out how to get things resolved for folks. Really great group of guys. We try and respond as quick as we can. Give us a little bit of time because there is a lot to talk about and a lot to do. We also do all the testing here in the support office, so we don't have to wait for Australia to wake up and get online. So there's lots and lots and lots of stuff going on, but we promise we will try and get back to you as quick as we can. If it can wait, or if you think of it in the next day or so, we'll be back on Thursday at 11 to 12. I'm going to have a special guest. And the next week, we're also doing 2 shows with Jake, one on Cloud and one on Central. So be sure to put those on your calendar. Oh, there's Senseless right here. He's one of the agents. He's one of the primary agents that gets back to people. So he is doing whatever he can to make that happen. And yeah, I can say a lot about that because you should see the mountains of work that get done around here. It's unbelievable. So great team. Send us over your questions. We'll try and get back to you. And if they don't know, they'll send it to me. And if I don't know, I'll talk to the engineers. And if they don't know, we'll have to figure it out. So don't be shy about the ticket system. It's a great little system. Works pretty well. We try and be as responsive as we can. But if it can wait, bring it on Thursday. Then I'd be happy to talk to you about those things that you're discovering. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Be well. Have a great beginning of the week. And we're going to see you closer to the end as time goes along. Looking forward to Thursday's show already. So thanks so much. Thanks for being awesome. And we will see you guys in a couple of days. Take care of yourselves. Bye.